These are breaking inputs coming in of the latest shots here. Teachers have been lathicharged in Srinagar. Hundreds of them on the streets in Srinagar, and this has been their long-standing demand here of permanent jobs and salaries. This is the protest which has been on for several months and once again peaking today. They have been lathi-charged. They had planned a march towards the governor's residence. Remember, the state of Jammu and Kashmir now under governor's rule. They had planned a march towards the governor's residence, and that is when the police stopped them, triggering this chaos. We have with us our correspondent Mir Farid getting us further inputs here. Mir, this was a demand that was being raised for the state government to look into this matter of giving them permanent jobs and a salary hike, and now they're addressing that same complaint, that same demand, understandably, to the state governor today.
Yes, that's right, sir. In fact, these people have been literally on the warpath with the government for quite some time now. This is not the first time they've come on the streets. The only difference is that previously it was the Mehbooba Mufti-led PDP-BJP regime, and now it's the governor's rule. Now, as you could be seeing in the visuals, they had planned this massive protest. Thousands of them had assembled in Lal Chowk, Sher-e-Kashmir Park. Their plan was to move towards the governor's residence. However, police stopped them, and it was this time that chaos and commotion broke out. You can clearly see police using bait-and-charge water cannons to disperse them. They did manage to disperse them, but their demand remains the same. They're saying that successive governments have promised them their genuine demands that they'll be implemented, but only on papers, nothing on the ground, and that's something that has forced them come on the streets and lodge these protests every now and then.
That's right. Farid, several have been detained as well. Are we looking at these teachers having sustained injuries? Because this was a fierce lathi charge by the police there.
Definitely would be injuries because, as you rightly said, there was lathi charge and they used these water cannons to disperse them. No tear gas shells, thankfully, and that really is the saving grace. But other than that, force used against these teachers, unfortunate because they have been demanding this, and the government, rather than bringing them on the table, has always been using police and force to disperse them. Now, they should be, obviously now they're hopeful that since the government has changed, the governor has in the past sometimes shown his interest in the fact that he's ready to resolve their issues. But again, if that's the case, they should never have been on the streets. They should have been their representatives across the table with the government and trying to clear their differences. And if at all their demands are genuine, they should be met. But that's not the case. And every now and then, unfortunately, these things are repeated in Srinagar or in Jammu, where these contractual teachers who are part of the Rehbar-e-Talim scheme are on the streets, and they are dealt with force rather than bringing them on the table and agreeing upon their genuine demands.
Right. Mireed, I beg your pardon. Farid, help us understand, since this has been a long-standing demand, various protests in the past few years that we've been reporting time and again of these teachers being forced to hit the streets. In the exact demands of the salary hike that they're asking for, and what was the understanding with the previous state government here, which the centre had partially agreed to as well?
Well, they say that previously they had several rounds of talks with the previous government. As I said, the Mehbooba Mufti-led government had met them and agreed upon some of their demands, which included regularization. Now, that is their main demand. They say that they are contractuals for years and years now, and it is their right to get permanent. And that is something that is not being done. To add to that, they say that the 7th Pay Commission, which has been implemented for employees across board, it should be implemented in their case as well. So basically, they have two demands: one, regularization; two, enhancement of salaries with respect to 7th Pay Commission. And these demands have not been met. They say that on papers, yes, the government previously also had said that yes, it will be done. But for months together, nothing was done, and that has forced them to once again come on the streets and agitate and protest as far as these demands are concerned.
All right, Mir, many thanks for getting us those inputs here in those shots. Unfortunate lathi charge there on these teachers.